All right, welcome into the locker room on a hump of the week, Wednesday morning here on Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life, love sports as well. It is the Smooth Breakfast, yes, taking you into your Wednesday in absolutely smooth style. My name is Ayokunmi. It's all about sports here in the locker room. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, that is what we get into sports from all corners. Today, it's going to be football heavy because there have been the World Cup qualifiers and the little matter of what went down in Bloemfontein yesterday between the Super Eagles and Bafana of South Africa. It's only if you're living under a rock that you do not know what went down. But before I go into all that, we begin to dissect, we begin to, do a debrief, as it were, just to let you know that it's interactive. And today we need your contributions. If we didn't need them at any point in time, which we always do, today is that day. We need to feel your pulse on that game and on the qualifiers as a whole, on the Super Eagles as a whole, looking at how the qualifying campaign went down. So please do join us on WhatsApp on one hand, 0911 999 0981. 0911 999 0981. Also on YouTube, we're streaming live at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. All right, joining me once again to take a look at what's been going on and, give some clarity, make some sense of the whole thing. Ibitayo Daramola is with me once again. Very good morning to you, Tayo. Good to have you on the show, though I wish it was under more pleasant circumstances.
We'll call it a good morning, but it's the morning after. And it looks as if it's finally done, and we can see clearly now for those who lost hope. You know what the usual saying, hope is the last thing to die, yeah? And it looks as if it's finally here to die.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, let us begin. Let us begin on this trajectory here. Of course, we're starting talking about that game as the South Africa held Super Eagles of Nigeria to a 1-1 draw in Bloemfontein, leaving Super Eagles on the brink of missing out on the 2026 World Cup. That is putting it very mildly. I don't see how this happens. I don't see how this happens, really and truly. So that's on the brink. That one is just English. Anyways, the Bafana took the lead midway through the first half via an unfortunate own goal from William Troost Ekong, but Calvin Bassey restored parity with a header just before halftime, and that was how the game ended 1-1, and that's all she wrote. Tayo, here we are once again, back-to-back World Cups off the table. I mean, I never thought I would see this particular day. Maybe missed the odd World Cup here and there, but missing two World Cups in a row for a footballing crazy country like Nigeria. How did we get here? For the millionth time, how did we get here?
For this qualifying phase, I mean, it's easy. It wasn't yesterday. It wasn't yesterday. When the draws were made, we knew in that group, South Africa was going to be our toughest opposition. Worst case scenario, we get a draw home and away against South Africa. That's cancelling each other out. It's all about getting results against the other teams. And here's how we fared against the other teams. We had Jose Pesero in charge, took on Lesotho. We drew 1-1 with Lesotho. And then Zimbabwe. We went to South Africa to play Zimbabwe. We drew 1-1 with Zimbabwe under Jose Pesero. Jose was sacked. And then we had
Looks like some
George in charge for the next set of qualifiers.
Right.
In Ivory Coast at the Stade Felix Stadium. And we lost the 20 or the 20-something minutes. They equalized not quite later. And then just before halftime, they scored. And that was all she wrote. We couldn't equalize in the second half. We couldn't. And that's our first and only loss in that group. Now, when Eric Shell took over during his last 4 games of the qualifiers, he's been in charge. His biggest undoing, could have helped in terms of maybe the play of sports, was the game against Zimbabwe, right there at Uyo, where we went ahead in the 70-something minutes. And then in the 90th minutes, Zimbabwe equalized 1-1. So basically, we've dropped points against Zimbabwe. We've dropped points against Lesotho. We've not dropped points against Benin Republic. In short, Zimbabwe twice. We dropped 4 points against Zimbabwe. So
which
if
is
you look at those
ridiculous.
teams we're supposed to pick up all 3 points from, we basically dropped 9 points. Note I didn't count South Africa among. I just excluded them because, like I said, we expect that South Africa will be the team that will be our toughest opposition. Worst case scenario, draw home and away against them, which we've done. Now, those 9 points we dropped from other teams that we should run over. If you add them to the 11, where does that put us? You see the table? We would have been comfortable with this draw yesterday. So we not going to the World Cup or not likely. Mathematically, we still can make the playoffs, but definitely we won't. But the reason it's not yesterday's game, make no mistake about it, it's the game against Zimbabwe, it's the game against Lesotho, it's the game against Benin Republic, where we failed to do the needful. That, normally when we play these teams, it's a foregone conclusion, 3 points for Nigeria. But these points we drop has come back to us, and it's nobody's fault. Enough blame to go around everywhere. Everybody gets a share of the blame, except us, the fans, because we are the ones being stabbed here. But everybody else gets a share of the blame.
Everybody definitely gets a share of the blame, and I will say that as Tayo has said, it just hasn't been good enough. 8 games, 5 draws, 1 loss, only 2 wins in 8 games. There is no Jupiter where one can go with that result and think of anything meaningful happening. And one of my biggest grouses is the inability of that particular team at different games to control these games, to score goals. I mean, you can grind out your 1-0 wins, grind them out. It happens. We've seen in league football where teams, they go through a bad patch and they grind out a series of 1-0 wins, but they get the 3 points. They control the game, get the 3 points. We aren't able to control games. We don't score goals. It's just been an unfortunate series of different events. And I just, this morning I was very curious. So I put together a table of all the teams in the qualifiers, just put them all together in one entire table because sometimes these kind of things just come to your mind and you're like, why not? So looking at all the 54 teams that are playing in the qualifiers, Nigeria is currently 24th out of all the 50 teams. Some of the teams in front of us, we have Sudan, Sierra Leone, Libya, Comoros, Mozambique, Namibia, Uganda, who will play the Nations Cup as well. It's just really sad to see. Nigeria is supposed to be a footballing giant. I'm sorry to say we are not. We are an unserious team. And by extension, a country that tends to be very unserious. Look at Morocco, serious team, 7 games, 7 wins. They are done. Tunisia, they are done. Cape Verde is on the verge of qualifying for their first ever World Cup. DR Congo is dragging with Senegal. What are we doing exactly?
I mean, you touched on it. I purposely avoided tactics and formation and every other thing because I don't want to give myself headaches this morning. But there was no one game we played, even the ones we won, that we can confidently say we dominated the football for 60 minutes. We didn't. We were not dominant. We didn't put, go what it is where you come into the field, Super Eagles, you put fear into everybody else. Because the first 15 minutes, you're already a goal down. And you are bothered about not conceding much. So you go all out to try and protect and minimize the damage. Now teams want to go toe-to-toe with us because they know they can. Teams see our vulnerability, they work on that, and there's just no confidence. Even if the fans try and channel it through, the players are not imbibing it and are not showing it on the pitch. And that's one of our biggest problems. You look at the smaller nations, and please, I don't subscribe to the statement which says there are no minnows in football. There are still minnows in football. We saw Norway put 11 at the team yesterday. 11 goals.
Minnows full ground. Are you kidding me?
You're supposed to put this. There's a reason why there are pots where teams are in pot 1, pot 2, pot 3, because you are higher ranked, you have better players, and it is assumed that you are the one that will be the favorite to qualify from this group. If not, okay, if you falter, probably finish second. As things are, I am not confident even that the last two games that we would clinch maximum points in the last two games. I am not confident. I think, if I'm being honest with myself, Benin Republic will finish second in this group. That tells you a lot about how terrible we've been. You prosecute these World Cup qualifiers with 3 coaches so far. We don't know what's going to happen. We might have another coach for this last. Not that I'm wishing ill, but I mean, you might have another coach before the next set of qualifiers, which is just around the corner. Yes, just in October. So 3 coaches, chop change. And that's why I said there's enough to enough blame to go around. Because how do the players settle to the formation? Who knows who is going to play where? Under which coach? Who knows the preference of this coach that's coming and the coach that's gone? And in between those 3 coaches for the World Cup qualifiers, we also had Senegal take charge of the Nations Cup qualifiers in between. So basically, for the period of November 2023, when the World Cup qualifiers started, to now, we've had 4 coaches, 4 different styles, 4 different tactics, different players are invited up front. No, even if you try that with England, you have them stutter. I'm not saying feel like Nigeria, but you have them stutter. And so the Nigerian Football Federation must look at themselves. What is their plan?
There is no plan.
Do we have a style? Do we have, it's easy to go back to, because there have been precedents. So it's easy to go back to countries that have failed and the process they did to come back to this. And I'll give you an example of Germany, when they did so terrible outside at the group stage of the World Cup. What they did was
twice in a row.
Yeah. What they did was draft like it proclaims to every academy out there in Germany, this is the style you must play, or a variation of this style. So the players coming through the ranks via those clubs, they will all be used to that style when they get to national team. And then you get a national team coach that plays to that style. And they went on to win the World Cup. It's not rocket science. But you must be conscious, you must do the needful, and it starts, whether we like it or not, it starts from the grassroots, which we have completely neglected. And that's the truth about it.
Well, it's an unfortunate situation, but hey, you only reap what you sow at the end of the day. You cannot plant beans and expect they're going to get cotton. It doesn't happen. All right, we've talked about the Spriggles for maybe a bit longer than we would have, but I mean, it is a pressing issue and one that I know we all want to weigh in on. So keep those thoughts coming in on WhatsApp. A couple of messages already. Nigerians are passionate about their football, really. 0911-999-0981. Also, leave your comments on YouTube at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. We'll take a break. When we come back in, we'll pick up on some athletics and a bit more sporting action. Football, more qualifiers on the way. Very unserious bunch. Very, very unserious bunch.
Yeah, man. I don't want to open the book of lamentation, but we have to.
No, I mean, because we do this song and dance so very regularly. Let's even forget about the playoffs, because number one, we are 4 points away from the 4th playoff place. There are about 3 teams in front of us already. Burkina Faso is in 4th right now.
We are not, forget yours. Hold your horses. We are not even in the 2nd place team. We are currently 3rd. So forget about, you have to first finish 2nd in your group to first put that. So
our 3 points behind that. Our 3 points behind 2nd place safe in our group anyway.
We're not.
You know. So
Benin Republic, they spanked Lesotho 4-0 yesterday.
4-0.
That we struggle to 4-0.
No mucking about. Even if by some miracle, we make the top 4 second best place team by some miracle,
we can't make it.
You are still playing playoffs between those 4 before you now go and play international playoff again. How now?
I'm not going to do that this morning, because
how now?
Those teams ahead of us, the teams ahead of us, even if we make 2nd place, the maximum points we can make now is 17.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have teams in 2nd place who are not top 4. who are already on 15 points.
On 18 points,
Yeah.
on 18 points. You're already on 18 points.
Yeah.
But
So you see, I mean, I'm looking at Uganda, Namibia, Cameroon, but
it's Gabon, Madagascar, DR Congo, Burkina Faso.
They are for them to dampen our hope.
19, 16, 16, 15. We are on 11.
So even Benin Republic, that's currently second in our group, there's no guarantee, even if it wins the last 2 games, that it will make the playoff. So I mean, I was looking at 19 if you could pull off the South Africa win, but it is what it is.
Not going to happen. All right. All right, welcome back into the locker room on a Wednesday morning here on the Smooth Breakfast. This is Smooth 98.1. We love music and we love life as well. And we love to talk about sports. That's what the locker room it's all about. Ayokunmi here, Ibitayo Daramola also with me. We've been talking about the Super Eagles in the first half of the show because, we're Nigerian and we are patriotic as well. You can join us as always. WhatsApp is there 0911-999-0981. Leave your messages. YouTube also, leave your thoughts out there for us. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Let me take 1 or 2 messages before I come back to you so that they don't choke me at the end of the show. Emeka Nikeja says, the decline in football is not different from the decline and decay in all our institutions. Don't treat sports differently after all, they are not played and managed by AI, but humans as well. True story. Tayo Inaja says, Tayo greeting the free kick specialist Tayo. The pitch is bad, but Ekong and Bassi both scored. South African footballers came to mark attendance. NFF and Super Eagles will stain your white. Ayo, is this how Man United fans feel? At least there was an FA Cup win in the middle. There was a League Cup win in the middle. At least bad as bad. Tayo, don't put United and Nigeria in the same WhatsApp group. He then says, let me look for national team to support in the World Cup. They should just declare a state of emergency in our football because we've had a lot of unfortunate events starting with local football. Our league is cosmetic. We don't even have continental influence. That is true. Stan says, you see the table, we could have been comfortable. Nice rhyme from Tayo. That's what we do here. The boys are just too lazy, in my opinion. They seem too big and sophisticated playing for the country like nothing's at stake. Even the home-based players I could have recommended for physical plays are worse. The government should just ban international competitions in the country to prevent emotional trauma and heart attack of the people. No, they can't. The women are making us proud. Let the women go. Maybe the men should sit down. The women can continue to compete. Let the men sit down and go to the farm or something or whatever. I don't even know at this point in time. All right, let's talk quickly about what's going on in the world of athletics, where athletes competing at the World Championships in Tokyo will face heat challenges, according to World Athletics President Sebastian Coe. The 9-day tournament featuring the world's biggest track and field stars is set to begin on Saturday. And Japan is enduring its hottest summer since records began in 1898, with serious heat out there. Tyler.
I mean, it's crazy in Japan. If you someone like me who consume news, every news is possible. You see it every day, and then when you watch the popular news station, the one everybody knows, you see when they're showing their weather forecast, you see the record highs every time. Almost every city in Japan is showing record high. This year they recorded their highest ever, 41 degrees plus. This time around, it's been consistently, when it hits the afternoons, it's been consistently in the mid-30s. That's crazy. In the early morning, it's usually around 26, 27. That's
right.
That's crazier. You can imagine athletes who, expend energy and every other thing under that extreme heat. I mean, we're going to be having heat stroke, fatigue. I mean, world records will definitely not be broken if this persists, because this would drain out the players. They have to keep rehydrating. It's no fault of world athletics, I must say. It's just one of those things that happen, and everybody gets a blame in this. It's global warming, and we keep trying to tell everybody we need to adhere to it and try and, yes, the atmosphere, be careful what we give out to it, but these are the results we keep getting. I don't envy the athletes. The World Championship starts this Saturday. Some already are in Japan, and I mean, we hear complaints from some of the athletes already training in Japan. Last time around that we had it in Japan, the marathon couldn't even take place in Tokyo. It had to be shifted to another city. But this time around, so far so good, they've not announced that it's going to be shifted from Tokyo. But I think it might still be, because the temperatures in Tokyo are crazy as ever. And it's one of those things you have to endure as a professional athlete. And the venue has been chosen, can't be changed unless you want to postpone the whole event as a whole.
Well, they just have to find a way to manage the situation and do the best they can. But I just feel sorry for the athletes out there who have to compete in those very, very trying conditions. It's going to affect their performance, no doubt about that. But to what degree is what we don't know yet. All right, let's get back into football. Let's head into the Premier League, where Nottingham Forest appointed Ange Postecoglou as manager on Tuesday to replace Nuno Espirito Santo, who was sacked following the disputes with club owner Evangelos Marinakis. Big Ange back in the Premier League.
This is one of the most unpopular decisions ever in recent times. Very, very unpopular. Basically, a coach has done nothing wrong. Just fell out with the owner of the club, who is very, very antsy. I mean, Marinakis likes being hands-on. You see him at the stadium, post-match, you see him at the dressing room, shaking hands with every player, and it's very hands-on, and he makes decisions emotionally. We knew this was coming, of course, when the coach said, I mean, he said it's an expresser, said he's not in charge, and that his relationship with the owner has broken down. He specifically stated that. So we knew this was coming. It was a matter of when, not if.
Not if.
And when it happened, we were not shocked. Rather, we were annoyed, or I was annoyed, and loads of people were annoyed. Nottingham Forest fans don't like this decision, but they will have to trust the owner who has led them here. And it's shown that he can be astute with his decision, but more often than not, he gets it right. Now he's brought in his own man, who is brought in a Greek by birth, Australian by every other means, because he grew up in Australia, played for Australia, started his coaching career in Australia. A man who is famously quoted saying that he always wins in the second season. And I already seen jibes. I mean, it's not going to be a popular decision. You're kicking out the man who's qualified Nottingham Forest for the Europa League, although they went through the back door. It was Crystal Palace slow they took.
Right.
But they are in the Europa League, whether I like it or not. And you're bringing in a man who won the Europa League, but was sacked for finishing 17th. So how do you juggle between balance? How do you balance the league and the cup competitions? Will it be go for glory and jettison the league? Or, I mean, it's going to be, it's shown that he can't balance it. That's what we said last season, and that's why Spurs kicked him out. I don't know the response of the players to him, the fans to him. We went to see. I mean, he plays the first game this weekend against Arsenal. Welcome to the league, I say.
Yes, indeed. Welcome back into the Premier League at Postecoglou. That should be a baptism of fire. First game back in management in England. All right, let's quickly talk about Alexander Isak. Now, he says he believes that not everyone has the whole picture of his protracted Premier League record, £125 million move to Liverpool after an acrimonious exit from Newcastle. And, he played his first minutes of the season in Sweden's 2-0 World Cup qualifying defeats to Kosovo on Monday. He hadn't played at all for Newcastle in the first 3 games, but he's glad to be back playing football. What say you on this one, Tayo?
I mean, if we don't have the whole picture, paint it for us. I mean, what are we supposed to do? And what we know, which is fact, is you were brought into the Premier League by, and for them was a good signing. You see a couple of years on your contract. You down tools because you wanted to force a move, and you ended up forcing the move. The fans supposed to like you? No, I mean, fans run on emotion. I mean, rarely would you see fans who love a footballer and will move with the footballer to every club. I mean, they are the exceptions. The Messis, the Ronaldos, I mean, they are the exceptions. Every other fans are loyal to their club and their club alone, and they stick to their. As a Newcastle, if I am a Newcastle fan, I see him as a. I mean, he betrayed the club, and that's the way I'm going to see him. And that's the look. He's not going to get a good reception for all he did in Newcastle. When Liverpool goes to play in Newcastle, he's not going to get a good reception. Accept that, unless you want to tell the whole story. What we know paints you as the bad guy.
Right.
And that's the fact we work with. Until we have anything other than what we have, which should come from you, if you think it's something contrasting to what we believe has happened, then that picture we have remains the picture we have until you snap another one. We'll stick with that one.
Until he decides to channel his inner Vincent van Gogh and paints the full picture for us. What we know now is what we can actually go with. All right, let's talk about England. They took a huge step towards automatic qualification for next year's World Cup with Captain Harry Kane paving the way for a crushing 5-0 victory away to main Group K rival Serbia with an impressive free-flowing display on Tuesday. I'm actually glad England won this game by this much because I remember when they beat Andorra, I think it was Andorra 2-0, there were talks about, oh, they could only score 2, this one, that one. Now they've scored 5. What will the naysayers have to say in this instance?
I mean, this was Tuchel's best game. Yeah, I mean, since he took charge. I mean, the football was nice. They were free-flowing. The stars were showing up. I mean, goals from everywhere. The defenders chipping in the goals, attackers getting the goals. This was the kind of display they want to see. The England fans want to see. And against their toughest opposition in the group too. It speaks volume. I mean, against Andorra, when you play 2-0 against, I mean, that's the standard. I mean, when you play 2-0 against Andorra, that's a win. But the fans will criticize. Say, I mean, it's Andorra. We're supposed to run over them. But then you take on a Serbia. You don't, I mean, first half, game is done and dusted. Second half, cruise control. You can make changes, see your bench, change formation during the game against the top of opposition like Serbia. And then hands down, Tuchel, this sadly will be the yardstick for him now. He has to keep performing like this because the English fans are like Nigerian fans, overtly critical. Every single game they will nitpick. Nothing to nitpick on this. So they will applaud and cheer you. But trust me, come next game, if it doesn't perform like this, if the team doesn't perform like this, they go back to their nitpicking. And of course, they will keep cheering their team. But it's what coaches must understand. It's what fans do. We are not obligated to always cheer for you, even when you lose or when you draw. Your performance is how we judge you. And how we deem the players giving maybe 90 or 100% is how we're going to judge. And so it's just one of those things. It was rightfully criticized against Andorra, and now it's being applauded rightfully against Serbia. There's nothing to it. It's just the coaching world.
Just the coaching world. All right, let me take your messages as we wrap up on the show this morning. Chibuza says, forget on the pitch issues, but it's also poor management. Nigeria chose to play on Saturday in Uyo, then fly out to Johannesburg and then head to Bloemfontein for a Tuesday afternoon game. You know, I raised this issue with you, Tayo, that why did you choose to play on a Saturday when every other person played on Friday and, you know, all that, you know, everything.
Yeah. A quick correction. We didn't choose to play on Saturday. You don't choose your day. In football, where there's sponsor and there's TV rights and every other thing, what you do is because of TV rights, the TV and the organizers, they agree on dates. Because Nigeria is such a big country, they don't like our games clashing because the viewership is much when Nigeria is playing. And the sponsors want to make the TV company that put money down wants to make money. And so the TV rights, they give us a time. They give us a day. It's like the Premiership. The TV rights is decided, the TV, when they play, decided not by the EPL, but the TV partners. And so, please, everybody out there, we didn't decide that we wanted to play on Saturday or Friday or any other day. We get given our dates. We get given our time. Yeah? And then we go to play. And so we didn't decide. NFF, please, at least we can't blame NFF for that. Every other thing, blame NFF.
All right. He further says that in addition, in a group of 6, South Africa got to play 6 home games as Zimbabwe and Lesotho played home games in South Africa. No one thought to protest on the grounds of sporting integrity. well, you know what? That argument on one hand, but at the same time, how about the games that we played at home that we do not capitalize on? There's so much we
Yeah,
can say about external factors, but we didn't do what we needed to do. If we did what we needed to do, we could then say, oh, we did what we our work, but there were unfair circumstances on the other hand. But we didn't even get the job done. Sad. Iwa
yeah,
Nuru says, it's over already. It's been a colossal failure. Nigeria is not going to the World Cup next year. Let's start looking forward to qualifiers for Project 2030. That's the next World Cup. Even that one, going if we continue like this, it's going to be a long thing, really. Victor says, if you play 5 draws, 2 wins, and 1 loss with African teams, please tell us what we want to go and do at the World Cup against Spain, Belgium, Argentina, France, and Brazil. Let's enjoy our shame of not qualifying. When last did Nigeria score 3 or 4 goals against an opponent? Just 1-0 and we defend. Tayo says, the hand of Basi couldn't help us because the leg of Ekong had us in the wrong direction. They both had different goals. I hope people are satisfied when he omitted the last time. Like Carragher said, leave football before it leaves you. By the time these guys score up for another tournament, they'll be in their 30s. And like gospel artist Ed Sheeran said, their legs won't work like they used to. So I hope I hope the one everyone knows is Smooth FM. These guys might need local herbs like Agbo. Oh goodness, Tayo, goodness gracious, Tayo, that's your namesake. Mohammed says, okay, thank you very much, Mohammed, for your message. Great to have you back on the show. Let me just quickly go to YouTube. Mayowa says the fault of qualification woes falls solely on the laps of the NFF. They are the ones that employed 3 coaches. The draw wasn't a bad result, but in this context, it's bad. If we had beaten Zimbabwe, Lesotho, and Benin, we won't be in this current predicament. 10 slots, and we can't even get one. Actually, 9 guaranteed. We can't even get one. The same thing happened in 2006 when they didn't inform the players about the head-to-head rule. Well,
yeah.
as you lay your bed, is what they say. We need to wrap it up. Thank you all so much for all the messages, all the contributions. I shall continue this discussion on Lagos Talks at 9. It's a different turn. I just feel like doing something different, talking about sports on Lagos Talks this morning. Hey, I can do that. Why not? Tayo, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you on the show once again.
I'd have said it ought to have been a pleasure today, but the Super Eagles just dampened it. But nevertheless, we move.
Yes, sir. We move. Let's make it a great Wednesday. Go out there and do absolutely amazing things. All right. Do have yourself a great Wednesday, great rest of the week as well. See you on Friday. Most definitely.
Most definitely.
All right, Lagos. Thank you all so much for being a part of the show. Once again, it's been the locker room. Don't go anywhere. Like I mentioned, Lagos Talks at 9. We shall continue this conversation talking about what has been going wrong in our football and this failure to qualify for the World Cup come 2026. You get to share your thoughts even more. Call in, send voice notes, whatever. It's going to be an interesting one. Don't go anywhere.